I wanted to make a response to a video this morning on Reuters about a tornado. And I'm going to save some screenshots and share those so that you can get to that information. Here's have a listen.
Over 24 people have been killed and many more wounded after severe storms that spawned at least one violent tornado ripped across Mississippi late on Friday, according to the state's emergency management agency on Saturday. It left a trail of damage more than 100 miles long and hundreds without shelter. Though 4 people earlier reported missing have been located. Piles of twisted metal can be seen here in the western Mississippi town of Rolling Fork, which was hardest hit.
First off, because it should be said, my prayers go out to all those affected and the families of those who were lost. It seems obvious to me that when we have these tornadoes, and tornadoes in the U.S. are uniquely strong in the U.S., so this is a response to that great need of effective management. One of the things we learn from these tornadoes is that manufactured homes are significantly at risk in these situations. And it's because, in large part, because they're more fragile than a typical home, and they're lighter, and they're less physically connected to the ground. But there's a few things that we can do about that. There's a reason that manufactured homes are popular, is because they're a lot less expensive and they're a lot more accessible to a lot of folks who just don't make a lot of money, don't have a lot of money to spend at any given time, and it helps people stay out of debt and avoid rent and those kinds of things and really invest in their lives. So it's important to maintain access to this resource, but to manage it perhaps in a way that is less vulnerable to the tornadoes. And there's a building method called a gabion. Now, a gabion is a remarkably simple and accessible construction methodology. Basically, you take a heavy wire basket made from strong wire, and they're very stiff, and it's shaped kind of like a brick. It's twice as long as it is wide, and you place it firmly in a good footing, and then you carefully fill it full of stones. The size and shape and the way you stack the stones together can make a big difference on the effectiveness of the construction. So there's a little learning curve there. But as you go, you build it like a brick wall. You place the baskets sequentially in a pattern that's effective for your given use, and you fill them with stones, which can be sourced often from this very close at hand. So let's take an example of somebody who buys some land in the Mississippi area somewhere, or their family owns it, and they want to put a manufactured home there. Well, there's a few things that can be done. One is the idea of planting strong trees like Osage orange, perhaps a couple of rows of Osage orange trees. But they take a long time to grow, and you might get a tornado in between there, and it may not be quite enough. One thing that can be done is to clear and prepare the ground so that you have a stable footing for your gabion wall, and build a gabion wall that's the width of 3 of these baskets, has hollow spots in the middle, but is bridged between those 2 walls by little shorter walls that tie the 2 sets of walls together. and you fill the hollows in between, and you might actually make them a little wider. What you're doing is you're building something tall out of the gabions that has a hollow in the middle, but these two walls are tied together so they won't come apart. You fill them with good soil. You can mix in charcoal and some compost down in the bottom and stuff. It'll sink a bit, but what you're doing is you give a good growth medium for trees, and you plant trees on the top of that wall all the way down. And you wrap the area that you're going to put your manufactured home in with that set of gabion walls, and with trees planted in between them and plenty of good soil. And you'll have some protection right off the bat, but you'll also have the tree roots over time will go into this wire and these stones and the soil, and they'll tie themselves together, and it will make a very sturdy, hard to pull up, dense mat. We humans can move it out of the way. We can use bulldozers and move that if we want to. But that tornado is going to have a real hard time doing that. And maybe that's one way to protect some lives in the future. My prayers go out to the families who've lost people in this tornado and any tornadoes that people lose their lives in. And I pray that perhaps in the future building codes learn to react to the things that destroy homes so that the next home is impervious to what destroyed the last home. Thank you very much.